The new LinkedIn Hiring Pro can't undo your last hire. The human postponer. They were the master of one phrase. I'll circle back on that. But 3 months later, you were the one doing all their work and wondering how big that circle is. But LinkedIn Hiring Pro can take the hiring load off your plate by automating the hiring busy work from the initial job post to scheduling interviews. Hire right the first time with LinkedIn Hiring Pro. Post a free job today at linkedin.com/quality.
Hear that? That's now Crispy and McCrispy strips meeting Creamy Caesar sauce. Sounds extra crispy. Caesar sauce at McDonald's for a limited time. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Okay, so there is a question on the US citizenship test, question 74. And it asks you to name one problem that led to the Civil War. 3 answers count: slavery, economic reasons, states' rights. Say any one of them, you move on to question 75. I memorized all 3. I passed. I became a citizen. And then last month, I'm standing in a museum in Gettysburg. It's 90 degrees. And I'm looking at 2 glass cases full of little brass buttons. And I found a 4th answer. One that is never going on a flashcard. I am Saadia Khan. Welcome back to Immigrantly. And today, it's just me, solo. So it's August, summer's winding down, the light's doing that thing where it goes golden at 7-ish instead of 9. And I wanted to do one of these episodes where there's no guest, just me, a mic, and a story about a trip I did not want to take. My husband and I are in Maryland for a wedding. Beautiful venue, the kind where you eat too much, you dance badly. Believe you me, I don't know how to dance, guys. You love everybody in the room. And we've got a day free in between events, and we're staying about an hour from Gettysburg. So my husband suggests, very casually, the way people suggest things, they have already fully decided that we drive over to the Gettysburg Museum. And then he goes, it'll be great for Immigrantly. And guys, that did the trick. I didn't want to go. I want to be very honest with you about that. It was blistering hot. I had a whole day of wedding ahead of me. And the pitch on the table is an hour in the car each way to go look at what? Civil War relics. But he was so excited. Plus, he mentioned Immigrantly. So I went. That's marriage. Now, I am telling you this in August of 2026 for a reason. This year, this country turned 250 years old. There were parades, there were fireworks, there were a lot of speeches about who we are and where we come from, and the stories a country tells at its own birthday party. Those are the flattering ones, every time. So, I want to give you a different one, much smaller. An immigrant walks into an American museum in the heat and something cracks open. That's the whole episode, because that's not a story mainstream media goes looking for. An immigrant standing in front of American history, not as a guest, not as somebody grateful to be let in, but as a citizen with her own read on it. And guess what? Nobody is assigning that piece. So we tell it ourselves here on Immigrantly. So we get there, we watch the film. It's called A New Birth of Freedom. Morgan Freeman narrates it because, of course, he does. Then we go stand inside the cyclorama. If you've never seen it, it's a 360-degree painting of Pickett's charge, and it wraps all the way around you. You stand in the middle and the battle closes over your head. I'm not going to lie, it's overwhelming, genuinely. And then we wander into the galleries, and that's where it starts. The exhibit greets you with a promise. Right near the entrance, etched over the sepia face of a young soldier, there's a line from a New York Times editorial, October 1867. And I want to read it to you exactly the way it's written. The contest touches everything and leaves nothing as it found it. Great rights, great interests, great systems of habit and of thought disappear during its progress. It leaves us a different people in everything. So before you've seen a single musket, before a single uniform, the museum has already told you the war changed America completely. Nothing survived it. We came out the other side a different people. Now hold on to that. Everything I'm about to tell you is me testing whether it's true. And I walked in wanting to believe it. A little deeper in there, another placard. Massachusetts volunteer, April of 1861. He's answering the call for troops. And what he says is, and I quote, "How many? We are all a-coming." The war's not even a month old. It's still an adventure. It's still a story about honor and union. Everybody thinks it'll be done by summer. That line followed me the whole way through the exhibit. All a-coming.
Here's your report.
Oh, thanks, Jane. I wish I could hire someone just like you.
Try LinkedIn Hiring Pro. It's more than a job board. It's like the recruiter you always wished you had. Hiring Pro uses real-time insights to match your role to LinkedIn's unique network of professionals and delivers a short list of best fit candidates. You'll spend less time sorting applicants and more time talking to the right people.
Let's do it. You're irreplaceable, Jane, but another you would be great.
Hire right the first time. Post your job for free on LinkedIn today at linkedin.com/quality.
Okay, confession time. I learned this war the way most immigrants learn about it. A test answer. I waited about 12 years to become a citizen of this country, 12 years from the day I landed here. And at the end of all that waiting, the way I finally learned about the bloodiest war in American history was on a flashcard. In a stack of 100 flashcards, somewhere between how many amendments there are and what ocean is on the West Coast. Question 74. Name one problem that led to the Civil War. Slavery, economic reasons, states' rights. I memorized all three. I could say them cold in a room to an officer under fluorescent lights. I had never once felt them. And I think that tells you something about how this country asks immigrants to belong. It doesn't ask you to understand it. It asks you to recite it. It hands you the country as trivia and calls that citizenship. Oh, and the test has grown since I took it. 100 questions when I studied, 128 now. More facts to recite, not one bit more likely to be felt. It took Gettysburg to turn that flashcard into a story for me. Because standing in those galleries, I could finally see the through line. And the through line is money. Here's the thing. The Southern economy leaned hard on cotton exports, and it had never really diversified. And that's one of the real reasons the South wouldn't give up enslaved labor. It's not that you couldn't grow cotton with free people, it's that free people would have to be paid. You would have to give them a share of their own work. That's the part that could not be tolerated. Not losing the crop, losing the margin. And those habits, take the labor, keep the profit, were so deep, so entrenched that the region wasn't willing to change. It was willing to burn the house down instead. And that didn't end at Appomattox. It just got a wardrobe change. The states that made up the Confederacy kept building racial hierarchy into their systems, into their structures, and they kept casting somebody else as the enemy. First it was the North, then it was the elites, and now it's the woke. And meanwhile, they are leeching off working class white people in their own states, feeding them grievance instead of wages. And here's the part that never makes it onto a campaign sign. Most of those states take more from the federal government than they put in. The Rockefeller Institute of Government runs this analysis, what each state gives versus what it gets back. And in the last normal year before the pandemic, 13 states were net contributors to the federal budget. 13 out of 50. And the biggest of them? Well, they are the coastal so-called elite states that the South has been trained for 160 years to hate. So the grievance is real. It's just pointed in the wrong direction. On purpose. And then I turn a corner and I stop in front of two glass cases, hanging side by side, same wall. One of them's got Union buttons sorted by state, Massachusetts, New York, Pennsylvania, Michigan. The other is Confederate, South Carolina, Mississippi, Alabama, Texas, little brass buttons, almost identical. Same size, same shine, same little hoop on the back where somebody sewed them onto a coat. The only thing separating them is the label above them. Two Americas, same wall. And I'm standing there in front of that glass and I realize I'm looking at the map I already know. Swap the labels, Union and Confederate become blue and red. And it's almost exactly the map we fight over every single election. The map I have watched light up on a TV screen every 2 years since I got here. 160 years later, and this country is still sorting itself into two columns on a wall. Okay, back to that promise at the entrance, because the Times got one thing wrong. The great systems of habit did not disappear. They adapted. They changed their clothes. They even changed their vocabulary. They changed their villains, and yet they survived. And that's what actually got me at Gettysburg. Not the scale of the war, not the number of dead. It was how short the line is from the split between the Union and the Confederacy to the split between blue states and red states right now in 2026. How it shows up now is not the same, obviously, but the systems of habit are still there, still doing the same job, holding the status quo in place. Take the war economy. The North was less dependent on cotton because it had diversified, and the war supercharged all of it. The factories, the railroads, the banks. War was profitable. But that war was fought inside our own borders. Americans paid for it in blood, on fields like the one I was standing on. Today, America still profits from war. It just outsources the field. The war gets fought far away, far enough that most Americans never have to look at them. Muslim countries and the global South recast as the villains. And meanwhile, people here at home get fed hatred for whoever's closest. The immigrant, the Black American, the Muslim, the Latina neighbor. The machinery is new. The habit, well, that's an old one. So here's where I landed, standing at the exit, 90 degrees, 2026. We have not learned much in 160 years. We're still answering the recruiter's call, still all coming, still signing up enthusiastically for systems that were never built to serve us, still being told it'll be over by summer. And getting out of that takes the unglamorous thing, looking inward, holding ourselves accountable, tearing apart the old so you can build the new. That's what progressivism actually is, underneath the branding, and it is long overdue in this country. The test that made me a citizen took 3 answers for what led to the Civil War: slavery, economic reasons, states' rights. Standing at that exit, I had a 4th one. And it's the one that is never going on a flashcard. Habit. The promise at the entrance says the war left us a different people in everything. Well, listeners, I am not so sure. And listen, I know how it sounds when an immigrant says that out loud. There's a script you get handed at 250. Arrive grateful, stay quiet. Take the flashcard version and be thankful somebody gave you a flashcard at all. But I waited 12 years for this passport. I didn't wait 12 years to recite a country. I waited 12 years to be able to argue with it. That's not ingratitude. That's citizenship. Telling the truth about a place is one of the ways you belong to it. If this one gave you something, do the thing that actually helps a small independent show. Send it to one person, not a repost, one person, one text. That's how these stories move. Nobody's buying us a billboard. You can find the show wherever you listen to your podcasts, and also on our socials at Immigrantly Pods and my Instagram at It's Saadia K. This episode of Immigrantly is produced by me, Saadia Khan. The editorial review is done by Shay Yu. The sound design and editing is by Lou Raskin. Immigrantly's theme music is by Simon Hutchinson. Other music by Epidemic Sound. Thanks for hanging out with me. And I'll see you next week.